What if the secret to elevating your craft isn't about mastering new techniques, but about mastering yourself? We all start somewhere, but the truly impactful creators are the ones who find their authentic voice. In this video, I explore with you the concept of how through creativity and sharing your truth can be your greatest masterpiece. The journey into any craft often begins with a flicker of interest. Consider what initially drew you to your craft. Was it a hobby you picked up in your spare time, a necessity that life demanded, or a sudden burst of inspiration that just couldn't be ignored? Reflect on the moment you discovered your passion and how it has shaped your path. For me, it was a way of being. It was not something I strived towards achieving or even thought would become my career path. I knew I wanted a career that enabled me to use my creativity, but initially that was based on me capturing the beauty of living through my lens. As a portrait photographer, not handcrafting items to enhance the everyday living experience. That was just something I did in the background. It wasn't until almost 10 years of running my photography business and having my second son that I really connected the dots with my crafting being a career option. Every artist or creator faces awkward beginnings, marked by failed attempts and numerous lessons learned. These experiences are invaluable as they lay down the foundation for growth. In my early days, there were clumsy experiments that taught me about resilience and perseverance. Embracing the awkwardness is a crucial part of your creative evolution. The mistakes I made in screen printing tea towels, serviettes, and aprons became the foundation of a new product line that ended up selling more than my tea towels, serviettes, and aprons. I cut up the premium quality linen into strips and started hand making little flower brooches with beautiful feature vintage button centers. I can't even tell you how many of those brooches I sold. I never did keep an exact count, but I can tell you that they were a very popular item for many years. Moving away from screen printing to working with old woolen blankets was not a planned transition. It was an evolution in response to our move to the cool climate region of the Yass Valley from the subtropical climate of the Central Coast. After years of working with repurposed blankets, I then moved predominantly working with kangaroo leather, which again was an evolutionary step based on lifestyle, circumstance, and my personal brand ethos based on living sustainably. The introduction of linen and wool garments was also in response to a personal need. These choices were not about creating what I thought would be popular. They were based on a need in my personal situation and a response to what I was witnessing taking place in my environment. While sewing was a big part of my upbringing, again, it wasn't something I expected to become a part of my career path. Crafting often becomes a personal sanctuary, a sacred space where we can express ourselves freely without the need for external validation. Making garments and accessories that supported my lifestyle and style really was what drove me to work with those materials, and then having others request items to be made for them is what led me to turn it into more of my profession. I wanted to feel good in what I was wearing and be able to create garments that suited my physique and lifestyle choice. In the same way that I started handcrafting items like my kangaroo leather phone pouches to keep my phone safe and accessible while I was wandering across the 3,500 acre farm that I lived on. Sewing both at a machine and by hand is something I find therapeutic. Taking an idea and transforming it into something tangible is very rewarding for me. Now, I have always treasured functional art, pieces that add magic to my daily experiences. So it felt natural to take these practices and turn them into income streams. Your craft can serve as a refuge, allowing you to explore your innermost thoughts and emotions. The private dialogue in your work is where authenticity begins to flourish, unearthing your unique fingerprint in the creative realm. In a world full of inspiration, finding your unique voice is key. moving beyond imitation to developing a unique style that is unmistakably you, developing those elements of your work that sets it apart. Consider the influences you have absorbed and how you can transform them into something personal and authentic. For me, traditional crafting styles that stem from a life on the land, immersed in wild nature, not control over nature, but with an appreciation for beauty, such as the work of Native American Indians, artisanal creations from Peru, Egypt, and India. There is not one culture that I attribute my style to. I have gathered inspiration and techniques from many and alchemized them into my own. It's not about getting it right, it's about feeling aligned. Perfection is an illusion. The beauty of authentic work often lies in its imperfections. As a recovering perfectionist, I have had to learn to embrace the flaws and the quirks that make my creations unique. These elements can become the hallmarks of your work, adding depth and character that resonate with others. When I first started stamping letters into leather, it bothered me that I could not do it perfectly, and then I realised there was more beauty in the letters appearing to be dancing on the piece, so I intentionally did not try to perfect the placement. Creating is an act of vulnerability, as it involves sharing a piece of yourself with the world. It takes courage to present your work to others, even when it feels incomplete. I want to acknowledge the fear of exposure and how overcoming it can lead to a deeper connection with your audience. Having my workshop in a public space, when I set up my commercial space with a retail store and integrated atelier, people often watch me make on site and even make mistakes. The discussion was not about perfection, it was about the process, the pleasure, the emotional journey, not only in the creation of the piece, but the utilization of it too. For customers, witnessing just how much went into a piece that they would otherwise acquire in a heartbeat in a store just filled with completed items, this experience gave them a greater sense of what it truly takes to create a handcrafted item. It also presented the opportunity to discuss why the materials I chose to work with, the ethos behind my designs, and the small-scale production. Taking the leap to share our creations is not an easy feat. Overcoming that fear of judgment is a common barrier to sharing our work. The ways I have found best for overcoming imposter syndrome and self-doubt is to connect with other makers and share the challenges, supporting each other in overcoming them. People who don't create for a professional income stream don't always understand the journey of earning your living through your handcrafting, which is why I established a creative co-working space, so those of us who were doing this could journey alongside each other. Before opening that space, I found it so valuable to trade my wares in person at markets and festivals, especially festivals, as us traders got to eat, sleep, and trade alongside each other for an entire weekend, sharing our stories and journeys, forming strong bonds and lifelong friendships with fellow makers was one of the greatest gifts of those days. But if this is not something you can undertake, then finding connections in the virtual space, joining groups, subscribing to YouTube channels of makers, following them on Instagram, can help you feel less alone in your challenges and desire to find a way to make it work. Because in all honesty, turning your passion into an income stream is not the same as engaging in a hobby. Not saying there is no value in having hobbies. For some of us though, earning our income through our craft is a calling. Choosing where and how you share your work is crucial if this is the case. Not only in aligned physical spaces, but also online spaces. Doing what feels supportive is key. Not doing what you think you should do or what others are doing. When I had my commercial space, Instagram and my Google profile were the two most supportive platforms in maintaining connection with my audience and driving foot traffic in through those doors. My newsletter also played a crucial role. But now that I don't have a commercial space, I'm finding YouTube to be a more supportive platform to show up in, especially since I am now selling digital products and services that are connected to my craft and other offerings. This is not to say other platforms still don't have a place. I just think it's important to choose based on where your focus is and what you are showcasing and what you wish to move towards offering. The beauty of showing up in any space is the unexpected connections, some for a season and others for a lifetime. The real sense of community and collaboration that can arise from putting your work out there. Through my coaching service, I have met many beautiful hearted creators, some of whom have become treasured friends with aligned values and lifestyles. In the same way that I have acquired treasured connections through markets and festivals. These connections can enrich your creative journey, especially if you are not surrounded physically by like-minded individuals in this area of your life, and if you feel like a black sheep. That said, don't forget that there is also a ripple effect of living authentically. Your creative journey can inspire others to explore their own, even if it doesn't extend into them making it for themselves, but the appreciation of handcrafted wares and the magic they are infused with. Or simply stepping out into the world as your unique expression, not trying to conform to trends and societal expectations. Living the example that there is freedom in allowing your inner essence to be your outer expression. People often stop me along my path and comment on something I am wearing or using, like my earrings, my outfit, my handbag, which is all handcrafted. And when I express that I have made them, it sometimes leads them to expressing how they used to make things but haven't in a while, and now they feel inspired to reconnect with their creativity. Other times it's not about them making per se, but more about them engaging in their authentic self-expression, feeling like they have permission to wear what they love rather than what they think they should. Recently, while in Queensland organising my dad's funeral, I had numerous people comment on something I was wearing or using. These people I crossed paths with were in situations that would not ordinarily lead to a conversation about creative expression. But clearly, my presence was powerful enough for them to bring up the topic. But of course, not all interactions are going to necessarily be uplifting. There may be times when you receive feedback that feels like criticism at first, but upon reflection could actually be constructive feedback. Feedback, both positive and constructive, is essential for growth. I personally have always preferred to create, try, test, and tweak before selling something. And I also gift a product to someone to test in their everyday life and offer their feedback, which helps with improving the experience with the product for others. We can often make things in a way that makes sense to us, but seeing someone else use it, we notice that it may not be as intuitive for others as we hoped it would be. Taking the opportunity to learn from others and refine my work in terms of other makers and their techniques has also been so valuable. As an eternal learner, I am always discovering new and better ways to do things. While the finished product is important, the true value often lies in the process and the story behind each creation, which is why as a coach I like to encourage people to share the journey of creating, the challenges faced, the triumphs achieved, which contributes to the significance of your work. Rather than simply focusing on the features and benefits of the product, taking your audience along that journey with you helps connect them emotionally to your products too. There is of course a potential of creative burnout, trying to do everything and be everywhere, so it is important to actually take care of yourself too, because creative burnout is a real threat, especially when you take something you love and you add the pressure of it becoming an income stream. Now I say an income stream because I think it's important to diversify your income streams and not be so heavily reliant on one product or offering, which not only distributes the pressure financially, but also allows you to engage in other pursuits and keep the joy of creating alive. Working in a cyclical manner also allows you to cover that full range of the necessary tasks to sustain your creative profession. Just allowing yourself to engage in creative flow and then neglect to attend other elements of life that contribute to your well-being or ability to earn an income through your craft is highly likely to lead to stress and burnout. Setting up structures and practices that support both your creative expression and discipline to fulfill your necessary commitments enables you to have the best of both worlds. This is where I can help as a coach, so reach out if you feel like this is something that you could do with support in. You'll find a link in the description to how to connect. Also, I personally find that my creative energy comes from stepping outside of my creative space and experiencing other elements of life that trigger new ideas and inspiration. Making space in your schedule to venture out of your nurturing nest and explore can also be so valuable. As you grow, so will your craft. And as I mentioned earlier, when I first started my artisanal business, it was based on screen printing and has now evolved into mostly working with leather, feathers, linen, and copper. Embracing the opportunity to explore new materials and create new designs for different elements of life is a part of the creative process for me, and it keeps things interesting, which is not much different to the journey of life itself. Our professional growth comes from experiencing a variety of phases and stages of this human experience. We are not here to just exist. We are here to explore, discover, try, test, fail, and learn, and try again, and try something new. Being open to this being a natural part of the creative journey is a testament to your adaptability and resilience, which is important in life. Now, recognizing that sharing your authentic work is not just an act of self-expression, but a contribution to the world. There is an enduring impact of your craft and how it serves as a legacy for your voice and vision. For me, beauty, uniqueness, and connection to self, others, and our natural environment all contribute to my craft and creative expression, which has become a big part of my personal brand. Every piece of work tells a story, and understanding how to weave your personal narrative into your creations can deepen their impact. Reflect on the stories that have shaped you and how they influence your work. Consider how sharing these narratives can connect with audiences on a more profound level. Art and craft have the unique ability to evoke emotions. Your work taps into universal emotions and experiences, creating a shared space where others can find themselves. Consider the emotional journey you want to take your audience on and how your craft serves as the vehicle for that exploration. The power of storytelling and creative expression is within us all. As I continue to embrace the magic of my creative expression, I also invite you to embark on your own journey too. Let go of the pursuit of perfection and find joy in the process. Celebrate the uniqueness of your creations and the stories they tell, because in the end, it's not about getting it right. It's about feeling aligned and true to yourself. Your craft, your legacy, and the joy of making are gifts that you offer to the world. So take that leap, share your truth, and let your creativity shine. The world is waiting to see what you will create next. Share your experiences in the comments and subscribe for more inspiration. Let's build a community that celebrates the joy of making and the magic it brings into our lives. So thank you for exploring this concept with me. I hope that it has inspired you to step out and shine in your creative expression, and I look forward to seeing you here in the next video.